more often.
President Bush calls up military reserves. Jordan, overwhelmed with refugees, says it will accept no more over its border with Iraq. And the U.S. to defy in order to close its Kuwait embassy Friday. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting live tonight from Amman, Jordan. Jordan's king said here today in Amman that the Gulf showdown is the crisis of a, quote, world gone mad. He announced another try at peacemaking by going to Iraq and other Arab countries. The United States said it will defy orders to close its embassy in Iraqi-occupied Kuwait. Vacationing in Maine, President Bush called up the military reserves and talked about the crisis at a news conference. White House correspondent Wyatt Andrews was there.
Flanked by his two top military aides, the president seemed determined, even confrontational, about the showdown with Iraq. He escalated the military stakes with the call-up of U.S. reserves and gave the back of his hand to any suggestion diplomacy might work with Saddam Hussein.
They're willing to put all their cards on the table. That's good. I didn't hear that.
There was this direct question. Is the president thinking of forcing Hussein out of Kuwait?
I don't rule in or rule out the use of military force.
On all levels, U.S. policy now is to give no ground to Iraq, even if that forces the issue. The U.S., for example, will defy Iraq's deadline to close the embassy in Kuwait, despite fears the embassy's staff might be endangered.
We must not take the position that this illegal regime can shut down legitimate embassies.
On the high seas, Mr. Bush warned the Navy still might fire on ships that run the blockade. The U.S. does want the UN to approve the use of force, but the Soviets have so far blocked that effort, and the president today said he might not wait.
I think we've made clear to the shipping that they can be stopped and that we have the forces to stop them right now.
The Pentagon is also supplying new force to the Saudis, confirming the United States will sell them U.S. F-15 fighters and will tell the Israelis, who normally might object, that under the circumstances, these F-15s will help Israel's defense. Mr. Bush, at this moment, holds the strongest hand he may ever enjoy. Most of the world supports him, U.S. troops are in place, and Iraq is virtually surrounded. For now, the White House sees no advantage in offering Saddam any hope this crisis might be peacefully settled. Wyatt Andrews, CBS News, Kennebunkport.
At a news conference today here in Amman, Jordan's King Hussein, who until recently was generally described as a moderate in the Middle East, gave his opinion that the standoff between the United States and Iraq was spinning out of control.
I believe that we are almost facing the kind of crisis of a world gone mad.
The king, who has tried to serve as a go-between among Arabs, was somber, saying, "We are on the verge of an eruption in the Middle East."
Tell us, when is the last time you talked to Saddam Hussein and what his frame of mind was? Have you spoken to him?
I haven't had a chance to have a direct contact with President Saddam Hussein. This may come in the next few days if I'm able to carry out my program, which was to visit a number of Arab states and to talk with their leaders beginning tomorrow.
The flow of refugees into Jordan is so massive that the government tonight closed its border with Iraq for refugees. Above those who made it across the border today, reminders of why they are on the run. The lives of tens of thousands of Americans are about to change dramatically. President Bush officially authorized the Pentagon today to activate some military reserves to support and fill in for U.S. troops in the Persian Gulf. CBS News Defense Department correspondent David Martin begins our coverage of the call-up of the weekend warriors.
The president had warned the crisis in the Persian Gulf would require personal sacrifice, and today he ordered the recall of civilians to military duty.